So welcome back to the Venom Workshop. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to show you how to change the control arms on the Grizzly here. Control arms on the Grizzly or the Maddox Premium or the Mini Maddox, all the same control arms, same idea. The Mini Maddox, obviously, the control arms are smaller, but they're all mounted the same. So I'm going to go ahead and I've already got my ATV lifted up. And when you lift it, you want to make sure that you're not on the A-arm at the back. You'll notice mine's just on a little lift there. And I'm just going to obviously do one side because it's literally a mirror image to the other side. So you're not going to need a whole bunch of crazy tools. Just a regular socket set would work perfect. And you're going to want to take the upper and lower ball joints off. So you're going to need a wrench to take these off. I'm pretty sure it's a 24 mil, but you don't have to worry about that right now. And you could use an adjustable if you really had to, or a socket, I guess, off the other side there. But let's get started. We're going to need a 15 mil to get the tire off. Now, if you don't have an impact gun, you're best off to probably loosen your tire off before you lift it up. So let's get down a little bit. Okay, so we got our tire off there. Keep a bolt tray or something that you can throw your nuts and bolts in that you're doing, so you're not kicking stuff around. Okay, let's get this tire off. Okay, so to take the bottom one off, we're going to have to obviously take the shock off. The upper one is not that hard to take off. You just have to take off this nut here first, and then this is going to pop off, and then we're going to take the shock off. So we might as well just get right at it. You do not need to take the brake off. The brake assembly here can stay on. There's no need for it to come off. We're not changing the spindle. We're just changing the upper and lower control arms. So we don't have to change the, well, we could change the spindle too if we wanted. So yeah, why not? Actually, I'll just go ahead. So we're going to take off the tie rod as well. So you're going to need a set of needle nose pliers just to take these cotter pins out. I built up pretty resilient fingers, so I can pop that out, throw that in there, and I'm gonna take the ones out of the bottom too. Let's look at all my cotter pins out right now. This one too. Okay, I'm gonna grab a set of needle nose pliers just to get them moving. There we go. So that's all of our cotter pins out. So now we just have to, like I said, we'll remove the ball joints here. So I'm gonna grab a wrench. Pretty sure it's a 17. Oh, I was wrong. It's a 19. Okay, got to move. There we go. Okay. So basically we should be able to take the spindle off now. If you look at these, a lot of people will, even on a car, they have a hard time getting these off. They use ball joint separators and all kinds of stuff. An old guy showed me a trick in a shop a long time ago. To separate a ball joint, you do not need any sort of separator or anything like that. And I'll show you why. Take a hammer right here and you pull up on that. You tap the side of that. See how that'll pop right up? Now if I just tap this, it'll probably make that one go down a bit. Enough that I can get it off. That's not very long. Oh, it's almost off on the camera. Get off of there. Well, I've had about enough of that. So what I'm going to do is I put enough on there. Well, I should have took the top one first. I'm not going to take that off then. Oh, hit that tap up. Let's see what there we go. So it's easier if you take the top one first. There we go. And we just let that hang down. Now, if we were changing the spindle, all we'd have to do is take this nut off here and this nut off here. What I'll probably do is we can just do that too. So that's just a 17. And that'll just wiggle out. Now your brake, you have to take this nut off here. And it just slips forward. A cotter pin there too. Just jam down where I can't get it with my fingers. So I'm just gonna pry it up like that. Now I'm gonna get a socket for this. I think it's a, if I'm not mistaken, it's a 14. I'm just gonna put these two on here. Just while I take this nut off. It's a 21 or 22 maybe. 21, I think. Yeah. And the brake just slides off like that. And you can just let it hang down. I've already done that brake video. So there you go. So your spindle's off. Your top A-arm is ready to come off. You just have to take the shock off first. But we want to take it off the bottom of this here first. And then we can take it off at the top or do whatever we got to do. And we'll get that shock off of there. So the shock is really easy. It's you're going to need a 15 mil socket and a 13 mil wrench. So I'm going to get those. So you go ahead and just loosen the nuts off. Okay. There we go. Now the shock is ready to come out. Now your control arm is held by one big bolt here at the top on this one, and it's the same. It's going to be that 15 mil and the 13 mil here. Oh no, it's a 12 and 15 this one. Or, yeah, that's weird. Well, it used to be a 13, now it's a 12. But it's still 15 at the end. This is a good time too if you're doing this. Some of these units, the older ones, didn't come with these grease nipples. I would install a grease nipple in it. I'm going to put that nut back on there for 1 sec. And we're going to free that up. Apparently you're gonna have to move one of the bolts for the bumper in the front here too. It's stopping me from removing this. Yeah. No matter what angle I go, it's not gonna come off unless I remove that front bumper. Well, at least the bolt for it. So I'm gonna remove that. You just need a 10 mil. Now it should pull out. In hindsight, thinking I should just remove the bottom bolt of this. Oops. I'm removing the totally wrong bolt. There's actually a bolt down here that holds it. And that's what holds it to the frame. I'd like the frame to be able to move a little bit. Technically, I think if I took the plastic off. So let's just remove the plastic. It's another thing I'd like to point out on the Grizzly. There's also, right here, is the VIN number. If you're ever looking for where it's pushed into the frame or etched into the frame, this is it right here. And that's on every Grizzly or any Maddox. It's always right up in the front on the left-hand side. And it's also on the left-hand side at the back. So if you're ever looking for your VIN number, that's where you look. Okay, so there's one more bolt right there. I'm gonna go ahead and take that out. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this plastic bumper completely, and I'll be right back. Okay, the bumper's off, so this should just slip out. Yep, there we go. Oops, there's a little nut that I needed. Let's get this out. There we go. So that's down. Slip that. You'll notice that this one has the brake wire through it. Make sure and slip that off the brake, like that. And that's one control arm. And then there's just the bottom one to come off. That one, I'll put the nut back on, it's a little bit stiff. Just gonna tighten that with the hammer. There we go. That should come off.
like that. Give it a little wiggle like that, and it'll come right out. And that's the lower one. Now usually if we send these out, I'm not sure if we send these bushings, so you might have to put these bushings on, and they're just to hold grease in there. Make it nice and lubey. So there we go. Okay, so that's back on. Now to take this off, again, you just loosen this nut and then it unscrews. I don't know if I have the wrench for that right here, so to take this tie rod off, and it just screws in there. So I'm gonna go see if I have the wrench for this, and we'll take this off, and then we'll, because when we send it to you, it doesn't have this. So if you ever bend one of these, you're kind of holding the bag. 1 second, I'll grab a wrench. Okay, so we got the upper and lower control arms off. Now, to take these off, all you're gonna need is you're gonna need a 24 mil wrench for the upper and a 22 millimeter wrench for the lower. You can use an adjustable if you want to. And then these just screw out and screw back in. I'm not gonna bother taking them out. It's just, there's no reason to. But that's it. So 24 mil for the top, 22 for the bottom. Try to match them the best you can when you put them back in. Anytime that you're doing something like this, you can readjust them while they're on the ATV, and I'll show you how to do that too. But let's go ahead and we'll start getting these back on. Okay, now remember when you put the upper on to make sure and put that brake assembly through. It goes through the upper, so remember that. So we can go ahead and put our lower one back on again. So the lower one is right here. I'm gonna kind of turn the camera so you can see. Okay. So to put the lower back on, just goes like that. May have to wait a little bit to get the bolt through. Start it there on that side. Tap it in. Okay. And we can go ahead and start our nuts on there. Okay, just like that. And we can go ahead and tighten those up. That's our 13 and our 15. And you want to tighten them, but you don't want to snug them up too tight, because then you won't have much free play in here, and it'll literally destroy these rubber bushings. So you want to tighten it and make sure they're snug, but not overly tighten it. There we go. Now we can put our top one on. Now, like I said, before we put our top one on, I want to make sure and put our brake through there like that. this one, if you remember, is a 12, not 15. Again, same thing, you want it snug, but not too tight. And those are lock nuts that are on there, so they're not going to just come loose willy-nilly. Alrighty, so now we can put our shock back on. And when you put your shock back on, remember the adjuster is at the bottom. So I'm going to put it on the bottom first, and I'll just lift it up. Now when you put the top one on, you have to remember to grab, there's a mount for the body on it. You have to get that on there too. So, scooter. Go. Top thing, I'm gonna get through this. There we go. And put the body on it. And top twist way through. Alrighty. Now we can get our nut on there. Okay. Pair of nuts on the bottom, and those are 13 and a 15. Again, just snug. You don't want it so tight that the shock can't move. Okay. Perfect. Now we can go ahead and start putting our brake back together. So this is our spindle right here. But I'm going to go ahead and put the back of the brake on the spindle first, just like that. And then I can put the spindle in place on the top and on the bottom, just like this. We'll go ahead and put our nuts on. That's the two bigger castle nuts. That's a 19 mil. They don't have to be super tight. I'll tighten that better when I have my tie rod on. Okay. So now your brake, the front part of your brake, you can go ahead and put that on too. Oh, I did that wrong. I want that cable on the top, like that. There we go. And this, now I'm going to show you something else. The brake, there's a little pin on the back, right here, and that has to line up with that brake. See how that lines up? And then you can go ahead and put your washer lock washer. There we go. And screw that in tight. I think I took it off with my impact, but I'll put it back on in a sec. Now you want to take your tie rod, like that. The tie rod has a washer, a lock washer, and a castle nut. That's a 17 mil. So we can tighten that right now. And what you want to do is you want to tighten it down enough that you've flattened out your lock washer, and you line it up for your cotter pin. And it's just a small cotter pin. I'm going to go ahead and put it in now. Like that. There we go. So now it's done. And we can tighten up our bottom ones now. And I just want to line it up with the hole. Perfect. And I can put my other cotter pin. Oh, I forgot something. Oops. There's a lock washer that goes underneath each one of those. Don't forget the lock washer. So both upper and lower ball joints. Don't forget the lock washer. Like I just did. So it's going to be the same. You're going to want to tighten it down till the lock washer is flat. And obviously the nut is tight. There we go. Lock washer up there now. That's perfect lined up, I think, for my little cotter pin there. I got bent a bit. But let's see. Okay. That one's true. So we bent that up. That's on. Now we just have to tighten this. I think, what was that? Was it 21 or 20? Oh, it is 22. There we go. So put this cotter pin in now. So I've tightened this now. There we go. Right. Don't forget to put your honeycomb on. Flashy side out before you put your tire back on. Okay, it's all good. Now we can put our tire back on. And then we're just gonna put the front bumper back on, but it's not a huge catastrophe or anything. So come over here. Okay. Oh, I need our bolts here. And that's pretty well it. That's how you change the upper lower control arms. You can put your tire back on by yourself, obviously. But that's our video, and that's how you change the upper and lower control arms and the spindle on your Grizzly.